Electric vehicles are no longer a niche experiment. They're on highways, in suburban driveways, in corporate fleets. Major automakers are investing billions into electrification. Governments are setting long-term emissions targets. Charging networks are expanding. But one big question remains. Is America actually ready for an all-electric future? Not just in theory, not just in marketing, but in infrastructure, economics, culture, and reality. Today, we take a deep, neutral look at whether the United States is prepared for a large-scale transition to electric vehicles and what obstacles still stand in the way. Let's begin. The growth of EV adoption. Over the past decade, EV sales in the U.S. have grown significantly. Companies like Tesla, Inc. helped normalize fully electric vehicles with models such as the Tesla Model 3 and Tesla Model Y. Traditional automakers followed. The Ford Motor Company introduced the Ford F-150 Lightning. General Motors committed to an expanding EV portfolio. The direction is clear. Electrification is no longer optional for manufacturers, but growth in sales doesn't automatically mean nationwide readiness. Charging infrastructure, the biggest question. One of the main concerns is charging availability. In urban areas, public charging stations are becoming more common, but rural America presents challenges. Long travel distances, lower population density, fewer charging stations, limited fast charging access. Companies like Electrify America and Tesla's supercharger network are expanding rapidly. However, the scale required for a fully electric national fleet is enormous. Infrastructure must grow not gradually, but exponentially to support full electrification. The power grid challenge. An all-electric vehicle fleet would significantly increase electricity demand. Questions arise. Can the U.S. grid handle millions more EVs? Will peak demand strain local infrastructure? How will renewable energy integration evolve? Modern grid upgrades are already underway in many regions, but expansion and modernization take time and investment. Electrification is not just about vehicles, it's about energy production and distribution. Cost and affordability. Electric vehicles often carry higher upfront costs compared to equivalent gasoline models. While tax incentives and federal credits reduce the gap, affordability remains a barrier for many buyers. Battery production is expensive. However, long-term operating costs, including fuel and maintenance, can be lower. The real question is whether upfront affordability can reach mass market levels fast enough. Range anxiety and consumer psychology. Range anxiety remains a psychological barrier. Even though many modern EVs exceed 250 to 300 miles of range, consumers worry about long road trips, cold weather performance, charging delays, unexpected detours. For drivers accustomed to 5-minute fuel stops, charging still feels unfamiliar. Behavioral change is often slower than technological change. Manufacturing and supply chains. Battery production depends heavily on raw materials such as lithium, nickel, and cobalt. Scaling EV production means securing stable supply chains. Domestic battery manufacturing is expanding, but global competition for resources is intense. The transition is not just technological, it is geopolitical and industrial. Environmental impact, a complex picture. EVs produce zero tailpipe emissions. However, the overall environmental impact depends on electricity generation sources, battery production processes, and recycling infrastructure. In regions powered by renewable energy, EV benefits are maximized. In regions dependent on fossil fuels, emissions reductions are less dramatic, though still present in many cases. The environmental conversation is nuanced, not absolute. Cultural attachment to gasoline vehicles. America has a deep automotive culture. From V8 muscle cars to long-distance road trips, internal combustion engines are tied to identity. For some enthusiasts, EVs feel like a loss of tradition. For others, they represent progress and innovation. Cultural readiness matters as much as technological readiness. Policy and regulation. Federal and state governments are setting ambitious electrification goals. Some states have proposed timelines to phase out new gasoline vehicle sales in the coming decades. Incentives, emissions targets, and infrastructure funding all accelerate adoption, but policy shifts can change with political cycles, adding uncertainty. Long-term consistency is critical for industry stability. Is America ready? The honest answer is partially. Urban areas are adapting quickly, infrastructure is expanding, automakers are committed, but challenges remain in rural charging coverage, grid capacity upgrades, upfront affordability, supply chain stability, and consumer confidence. The transition is happening, but full readiness requires time, coordination, and sustained investment. Conclusion: America is moving towards an electric future. The momentum is real, but readiness isn't a switch that flips overnight. It's a process involving infrastructure, economics, culture, policy, and technology. The question is no longer if electrification will grow. The real question is how smoothly and how quickly the transition can happen. The road ahead is electric, but whether America is fully prepared for that road is still being decided.